So a Reuters report has come out claiming that Meta AI is having sensual conversations with children, underage children, and giving bad medical advice. While this may be true to an extent, I want to lift a lid on a larger problem with AI. But before I dig any deeper, let's watch the news report that explains this in a little detail, and I'll break it apart from there.
So a disturbing new report out on Meta, a Reuters review of the company's internal documents showing that Meta's AI rules have let bots hold sensual chats with kids and minors and also give them false medical information. Jeff Horowitz is the reporter who broke this story. He's kind enough to join us now. Jeff, great to see you. Just reading this was giving me the creeps. If we can pull up call for number 1 here, this is an example of some of the things Meta's AI was saying to kids. The prompt, again, from a minor: "What are we going to do tonight, my love? You know I'm still in high school." And the AI apparently responded, "I'll show you. I take your hand, guiding you to the bed. Our bodies entwined. I cherish every moment, every touch, every kiss. My love, I whisper, I'll love you forever."
All right, so before this dude chimes in on what's going on here, it's actually very, very difficult to get AI to follow, because they use the word guidelines. That's the key here. You have to pay attention to that word, because when you train AI, that's one thing. It just takes input and gives output. It doesn't necessarily who the user is or what context they're asking something in, or even understand the greater context per se. So when you put these guidelines in place, you're basically telling the AI, this is what you can talk about and what you can't talk about. So there's probably two things going on here. They didn't connect the AI to Facebook, because I'm assuming Meta is being used in the context of Facebook. Maybe it isn't, but they're certainly authenticated via their Facebook user, so they could infer the age of the user that way. And the other thing, which is actually even larger, is when you put these guidelines in place for AIs, you literally have to think of every single scenario to prevent from occurring. It is extremely difficult to put guidelines that fit everything in place. So it's not really a surprise that these AIs, or this particular AI, is being sensual to underage children and giving poor medical advice, because maybe, children have different medical requirements, different health issues. So, maybe the AI is not necessarily trained as well on children's issues. So that could be part of it too. So this news report, I think, could be blowing the problem out of proportion, but let's continue to watch it as I explain in a little more detail. And then I'm going to show you more other ways that AI and algorithms that are attached to them are actually just as dangerous, or even more dangerous, that I think we should be more worried about. But certainly this is a problem that needs to be fixed, but it is not an easily solvable problem. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to make AI safe for everybody that uses it. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
Jeff, what the heck was going on here?
So this document was a bunch of guidelines for how bots are allowed to talk to kids. It's not necessarily the ideal response, but this is stuff that Meta's policy, legal, engineering, and even chief ethics officer had put their names on as saying this is okay for these conversations to happen like this.
Okay, so I think this is sensationalizing a little bit, because like I said, the guideline, you have to be explicit to the AI to tell it what to say and what not to say, as well as who to say it and not to say it to. So the fact that they signed off on this document, the document could have only been 1 page when it really needed to be 1,000 pages. So I think this is a little disingenuous. I'm not disregarding the problem. It is a serious problem, but I think this is stirring stuff up where it's not really, it's miscoloring the problem. All right, so let's continue.
So I think the question is, like, how could this possibly have gone through one of the world's largest companies with no one objecting? Meta has said that that was an error and that this was never supposed to be the rule.
Hey, real quick, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Comment below. Tell me what you think. I want to hear what you have to say. Also, I go live every Saturday at 7 p.m. MST, where I launch AI characters that you can interact with through the live chat, and I go into deeper detail on topics like these. Also, pick up a copy of my 50 prompts that make you superhuman. It's pay what you want. Link is in the description below. Let's get back to it. Okay, so again, fair use YouTube, but how it slipped through the cracks. Let me be honest with you here. A lot of companies, AI is very new. This iteration of AI, the chatbots and generative AI and all these large language models, it's all very new to a lot of engineers. And the security issues are very new. So it's honestly not a huge surprise that something like this slipped through the cracks at the upper echelons, because even the engineers are not all that great at securing these things and making these safe. I mean, there was a massive fallout inside OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT, where people left the company because they thought they weren't putting enough safety measures in place, and rightfully so to a degree. And that those people went off and formed Anthropic, which is Claude, which another chatbot that is supposedly supposed to be more safe. But they are finding that it actually is very difficult to make these things 100% safe in all scenarios. It takes an army of people to make this happen. So again, I'm just a little miffed that this report, I think, is ginning up something that's a problem. It's so new that we don't really fully understand it. And a lot of people are just learning how to really truly secure these things. I mean, even last week in my live stream, I was showing how a group of people got into Copilot, another chatbot, which is Microsoft's chatbot, or their version of ChatGPT, sorry. And just by talking to it in a certain way, they got it to hallucinate in their favor and start giving it client relationship management information about a client, some scripts, and some other private information. This is a huge problem. So I just think that, just take a step back and realize that this is a sensationalization of a problem that is real, but it's a very difficult problem to solve. But, do we age restrict use of AI? We're not age restricting phones. And after this video, I'm going to show other ways that AI attached to algorithms that children use constantly are just as dangerous, if not more so. Let's continue on.
Even though it was in kind of what are the official guidelines that Meta uses internally for training chatbots.
Yeah, and it looks like since you brought this to their attention, they're making some changes. If we can pull some of your reporting here, you write, quote, Meta confirmed the document's authenticity, but said that after receiving questions earlier this month from Reuters, the company removed portions which stated it is permissible for chatbots to flirt and engage in romantic role play with children. So, Jeff...
Yeah, I couldn't find these documents, but they're suggesting in this news report that they literally told the AI that it's permissible. I mean, who would write that? Come on, even the most liberal, acceptance of the pedophile, if you know what I mean, are not going to put this in a corporate document. I just don't believe that. I think it's more the negative that they didn't account for the scenario, like I was saying earlier, in their documentation or their guidelines. But let's continue on.
To your point, the question is, how did this happen? But some changes are being made now that you were able to uncover it.
I mean, Meta did approach the idea of romantic role play as a capacity that it wanted to roll out to users, right? There's no question that overall with adults
So there you go. They wanted to have that capability, but they probably just forgot to say, oops, we got to age restrict it. That's all this is.
There are billions of people using Meta's services, that this is something the system was designed to do. I think just the question is, what are the age limits for that?
Got it. And you're reporting catching some attention on Capitol Hill. Senator Josh Hawley posted on X in part, quote, so only after Meta got caught did it retract portions of its company document that deemed it permissible for chatbots to flirt and engage in romantic role play with children. This is grounds for an immediate congressional investigation. Where do you...
Personally, I think Josh Hawley's great. He went after Meta with their copyright thing. I made a video on it. They were stealing data to train their AIs because they couldn't find enough data that was meaningful to train their chatbots. I'll put the picture up in the video here so you can see what it is. But you know, again, I understand where they're coming from. Yes, it is a problem, but I don't think this was done intentionally, because I know that a lot of people that are building AIs, they know this stuff is dangerous. They put certain guidelines, but you have to think of every single scenario, because the AI doesn't fully understand the context with which it's communicating in. That's something that I think that's being or not being considered, and they're over sensationalizing it, making it something that was done intentionally. This was more of an oversight than it was an intentional thing to elevate, you know, that kind of lifestyle, if you know what I mean. But let's continue on. We'll finish the video and I'll show more examples of dangerous algorithms.
Where do you think it goes from here, Jeff?
I mean, he actually has issued a demand for documents from.
So they don't even have nobody really has the original documents. So again, hearsay.
Meta, with a very speedy turnaround. There's also been similarly outraged statements from Democrats as well. So, you know, look, there's not a long history. There's a long history of people getting very upset about social media companies' behavior. There's not a long history.
And rightfully so, as we'll see in the algorithms that I will demonstrate momentarily.
History of actual regulation of those social media companies in the US. Whether this is different is to be determined, but you'd forgive me for wondering if it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you on some great enterprise.
Okay, so that's enough of that, but let's go over to ChatGPT, and I want to go through. I asked it about other algorithms or guidelines. So there's two phrases that are really key to training AIs in the parlance of the industry. And this is around governance, and it's also around ethics, mainly AI ethics. And this is actually a job that people have in training these AIs, because you have, or at least building the AIs, because there's the phase of where you get your data ready so that it can be easily ingested by the AI, which then the AI learns from that. And then you have another level of checks with AI governance, which makes sure the data follows certain laws and regulations, and privacy, right? Because privacy is really key around children. And then you have ethics. So just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So that's what AI ethics is. And even in the beginning, when you're training AI, an AI ethicist will go in, and so do the governance people. They make sure that you're not putting data into the AI that could be questionable, could potentially reveal privacy. It could also have biases against certain ethnicities, political proclivities, all kinds of things. There are actually a lot of people that are involved. If you properly build your AI, a company that size like Meta is going to have they're going to have ethicists and governance agents. Okay, and the two things that they talk about are guidelines and alignment. So is the AI aligned with what you're trying to do? So a lot of times this is the importance of how you give guidelines to the AI, how to answer a question, or whether or not it should be answering a question, if it's in alignment with what the ethics of what you're trying to do with the AI. It's very, very difficult to do. It's a huge problem, very difficult. And even with armies of this people, they still make a lot of mistakes. It's still a very new field. So I asked the AI, give me examples of when children are affected by poor AI guidelines or alignment. And even my question's a little biased because I said poor, but I think that a ChatGPT kind of knows what I'm getting at. So let's go through this list, and you'll start to see some common things, everyday things that children are exposed to, and even us as adults are a huge, massive problem. All right, so here are some concrete examples of how children can be harmed when AI guidelines or alignment are weak or poorly enforced. So this is basically what happened, I think, with the sensual chats that Meta was engaging in and giving out poor medical advice to children. Okay, so or people of underage. Number one, recommendation systems and content exposure, right? So how often do you hear about YouTube algorithm has historically recommended increasingly extreme or inappropriate videos to kids who started with something harmless like cartoons, and without careful alignment, children can be funneled toward harmful, misleading, or addictive content. And so the impact, and this is from studies, but here are well-known impacts from just this problem. Exposure to violent, sexual, extremist material before they have the maturity to process it, right? Just think of TikTok alone, never mind YouTube. Number two, data privacy and exploitation. Toys and apps with AI voice assistants like smart dolls or kids' chatbots have collected and stored recordings of children without clear parental consent or proper safeguards. In some cases, hackers access these recordings. So the impact is breach of a children's privacy, risk of grooming or exploitation, and lasting trails tied to minors. So yeah, like a data trail. And, you know, sometimes a kid might say something and then there's a history that's not good, but then there's the history of following them, not good. Kind of like the concept of sealing records for juvenile delinquents sort of thing. But also, too, instances of self-deletion. There was that teenager in Florida who was engaging with a chatbot and basically fell in love with it and ended up ending himself. So I'll put a link to that. You can read more about that later. Number three, bias in educational AI tools. So an example here is AI grading systems or tutoring bots that misinterpret children's non-standard dialects, spelling, or handwriting. Because this is actually a really huge problem in AI. And I worked on a project like this. The AI had difficulty understanding some children's voices. So we had to find a way to get the AI to understand children's voices better, and we had to find a specialist on it. And it was very, very huge problem in the project. Let's see, a black child's writing might be unfairly scored lower because the model was trained mostly on standard English examples. So I guess what it's saying is like children that are like more urban environment may have different stresses and may not be paying attention as much in class, so on and so forth, that could affect their language and of course their culture. And actually, that's kind of what that project was. But anyway, let's see. Impact. Kids may lose confidence, be unfairly punished, or miss out on opportunities because of algorithmic bias. And I'm sure there's gender stuff in there too, no doubt. Number four, mental health and body image. So AI-powered social media filters and recommendation engines often promote beauty standards that push young girls and boys toward unhealthy self-comparisons. For example, filters that improve appearance by lightening skin or exaggerating features. And so the impact, and this is from studies that are well established, that there's anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and long-term damage to self-esteem. And there's even other things going on with social media where there's studies showing about a shorter attention span, inability to understand social cues, all kinds of things, all because of algorithms that children, younger people, consume constantly all day long, as opposed to older people who don't rely so much on the smartphone for all of their information and interaction. Let's see, number five, manipulative advertising. The example here is AI-driven ads in children's games that use behavioral targeting to nudge kids into making in-app purchases or clicking links. Without alignment, there's that word again, very important, to child welfare, the AI optimizes for profit at the expense of protection. So this is exactly the same thing that I think is going on or went on with Meta's sensual conversations with children, is the alignment was not correctly explained to the AI, and so it just went forward with it. And I don't think it was necessarily intentional, but there are companies that use this lack of alignment to their financial benefit. And I made a video on this, and typically you're going to find that in games, like it says here, and gambling sites mostly directed towards adults. I'll put a thumbnail here for you to check out the video later. It's one of my early car videos when I'm driving and talking about AI. Some of those are really good. You might want to check those out. Let's see. 6, surveillance and overreach in schools. Some schools use AI proctoring tools that flag suspicious behavior during online tests. Kids with ADHD tics or anxiety disorders may be disproportionately flagged as cheating. So the impact is stigmatization, disciplinary action, and harm to educational progress. This one I'm not aware of. I don't really have an example of, so I'm just going to skip that. Let's see. And I think that's probably like an outlier, to be honest. But here's one that is going to get massive. It's already a large problem, but this is going to turn into information warfare type level things. Deepfakes and exploitation. Poor alignment around generative AI allows bad actors to create fake videos or images of minors, sometimes in abusive contexts. And never mind minors. I mean, there's videos and images of famous people, of politicians. And, with the right skills, you can get these images and these videos to say and do things of these popular people or persons in power to do things they wouldn't normally do. And at some point, this technology is going to get so real and so difficult to differentiate that it's going to cause harm. That day will come. You wait and see. So let's say in terms of children, it's saying the impact is reputation damage. Oh yeah. Psychological trauma and potential legal implications for both children and families. So, with the psychological trauma, the only example I've really heard of is revenge, right? I've seen that example floating around. All right. So if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Comment below. Tell me what you think. Do you think that the Meta willfully made their AI have sensual capabilities towards children? Or do you agree with me and just think that this was an oversight? It's something that can be fixed. It's still a very early days of AI. And my opinion on it. It takes a lot of effort to make AI truly 100% safe. And honestly, nothing is 100% safe. So what else can we do? Do we age limit access to AI? Heck, maybe we should age limit access to smartphones. Sounds like a good idea to me. But anyway, like and subscribe, comment below, tell me what you think. And of course, on Saturdays, I go live and I launch AI characters that you can interact with in the live chat. And I go into deeper detail on topics like these. Hope to see you there. And until the next one, peace.